everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. Today we're going to be extremely creative and we're going to be making some sugar scrubs. These ones are really easy, they're not hard at all to do, and I'll tell you exactly how I do mine with the recipe and so on in it. So let's get making something super duper fun. So to start with, of course, we need some ingredients. So for this one here, I'm actually going to be doing a rose one. Later on, I'm going to do some Fruit Loops and so on, but for today, let's do some rose. So I've got my rose fragrance here. Make sure this fragrance is okay to use in bath products. Some are not. Some products aren't. So you need to look on your supplier's website for that. But this one is called A Dozen Roses from Pure Candle Supply, so I'll be using that today. And then I have my mix. This is my own mix of oils in here, but I will tell you as we go along how I actually make this. It's really easy. I just pre-make my own oils because we need to add that to the base that we're going to be using. In here, which I haven't put yet, but I will put in later, we're going to actually add in a base amount of whipped soap. So you can actually buy it in a massive big base. It's really easy. I buy it in huge drums. And I get mine from Heirloom in Australia. It's just so much easier. If you want to give it a go, you can definitely make it. I personally don't make it because I have so many products. I don't have time to make that the base, so I just don't. And then, of course, we need to have our mica. So I have my gorgeous mica here. This is just to colour it. If you don't want to colour it, you could just keep it white. Then we do need some sugar. So in my bowl in here, I have some organic raw sugar that's in here, and then I'm going to also be adding some pink French clay to my mix as well. And at the top you will need something to decorate it, because remember, when we're making this, if you're selling it and you have your own business, it's really important to keep one of them at least, you know, the big swirly beautiful top for your photos. That's really important. And of course we do need the jars. So as many of you know, I actually buy mine in bulk, so let me grab them. So these are the ones that I actually buy in bulk. I'll leave you the links of where I get everything from as well. It's an Australian supplier. They're really amazing, and I think I bought about 1,000 of them for, I'm going to say, about $350 or something like that. It was 300 odd. But anyway, do check them out. They're actually really good. Another plastic supplier you could look at, of course, besides Amazon, but if you want to buy it in bulk and you're in Australia, because shipping costs a lot to get here, there's another one called Synergy. Synergy is really amazing, and they have different ones. The only problem I'm going to tell you with these is because it is more like a cup style. It's thin at the bottom and wide at the top. It's much harder to get your label on. In the past, I do have a white label, but I'm going to go with a different label of just a clear label. And then, you know, on the clear one, I'll just have black writing. I'm just thinking that way people can easily see through the jars and so on. But anyway, I'll explain to you exactly the labels and stuff when we're finished what I'm going to do. So the main thing that you have to do before you start, obviously, is we need to sanitize absolutely everything. I have already sanitized this, which is just my bowl. So I just have an electric mixer that I use for this. My mixer is not a KitchenAid. It is a cheap one from our department store, Kmart. I think it's like $60. So, you know, if you're going to do a lot of soap products, go and buy yourself just a cheap one to start with. Later on, when you're making thousands of products, of course, get a KitchenAid if you want to. But for me, I don't think I'm actually going to get one. I've just never really thought it was that important. But because once you use this as well, you can't use it for food. Do dedicate it only for soap. So that's why I say if you get a cheap one at the start, and that way it's not too much out of your pocket and it's more affordable, isn't it? So anyway, let's get started and I'll show you my whole process. So obviously for now I need to put some gloves on, and then I'm going to sanitize a few things, and I'll come back and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do from here. So how much fun is this going to be? So inside here, if you can see nice and close, I have 1.5 kilos, which is 1,500 grams. In here, so we've got this in here. I've already sanitized this, so obviously this is going to be our whip to go on top. The whole idea with this, honestly, is just literally whipping it up. So some people will actually pre-whip it first and then put in their oils. Honestly, it doesn't matter which way you do it, but for here we're literally just going to be popping this down. And then we're going to be adding in, like I said, in here. So in here, this is 40 mils in this little bottle here. And 40 mils is what I'm going to put in, which is my oil base. So in this oil base, I have quite a few different things that I'm going to be using in here. So my mix on this is apricot kernel oil, some jojoba oil, and then I also do have some vitamin E in this. And last but not least is I have some avocado oil in this as well. So this is, you know, just it depends on how you want your mix to be. But, you know, just pre-do your own oils. If you want, you can just use plain sweet almond oil. It doesn't matter. So honestly, just use that, but no olive oil, because that's a bit slippery in the bath and it will leave a big film on the body. But that's what I put in. It's a really beautiful skin loving one as well. And then we are going to be putting in some pink clay. And the reason I put pink clay is it just makes it look really, really nice. So there is your pink clay inside. And I'm just going to put a heaped teaspoon in there, or half a tablespoon, whichever one you decide. And then before we whip it up, I'm also going to be putting some colorant in it. But I just decided that I'm not, because we're going to put two colors, remember? So I'm going to separate this once I've done it, and then we will add it. I forgot about that. So let's just whip it up. Now, if you can see in here how it is thickened, so basically what's going to happen is it's going to double its size because it's just whipping the air through it. So in the meantime, we then need to have our sugar in here. So I'm just going to weigh this up properly. So with your sugar, I suggest you use raw or organic. Some people use white, but I just think this is a nicer feel on the body. I've used all of the different ones. So because we have 1,500 grams in here, we are going to halve that. So it'll be 750 grams. So whatever you put in the soap whip, then you want to put in half the amount in the sugar. So let me just, I'm just going to go to the side to weigh this up because silly me, I forgot. So we're just going to pour it all in here now. So that's all we're literally doing. It is nice and easy. Like I said, about your 750 grams in there. And then we're going to mix this up again. And if you've noticed, I don't mix mine for a massive amount of time. I've seen lots and lots of people mix it for too long. And what actually happens when you mix it too long is this mixture will just go flat. So it will literally fizzle like a water kind of fizzle. So you definitely 100% do not want that. So for what we're going to do now is we're going to separate it because like I said, we want to have a couple colours in this one. So you know, usually a lot of people have 3 colours, but for today, I'm only going to be doing 2. So I'm literally just going to take some of this out and pop it into the separate jar. Because then when we actually later on, you know, and we make this look absolutely amazing, then we'll be thinking how gorgeous this is going to look. So let me just pop a little bit in that one there, which is my white one. So my main base is going to be this beautiful pink kind of colour, and then the other one I'm going to leave. I'm not going to add any more into it. So let me just add this in. So it's just a teaspoon of mica. You can put as much as you want or as little, remembering that this is a little bit different to some of the other products because they're going to wash this off. If you're making body butter, I wouldn't put as much mica in because no one wants to have the body butter stuck on them in bright colours. Anyway, let's whip this up just a tiny bit to mix the colour in. And now we are done. So let me sort all this out. I will remove this off the bench and I'll come back to you in a minute. Alright, so one thing I forgot to do is the fragrance oil. So I've measured it out. We're only going to be doing this, remember, at 5%. And then I'm going to save the other little bit for the other jar. So if you forget this, you can just mix it by hand. Don't stress too much. As long as it is mixed in really, really well. If you don't feel you can mix it in by hand, then obviously turn the machine on and redo it. But even once the machine's finished, you have to mix this back in a little bit as well. Because sometimes the machine doesn't get the total bottom, but look how beautiful this pinkish color is. It's just really amazing. And then if you can see this little white one, I'm going to have to transfer that to a bigger jar because, as I said, I forgot to mix in the fragrance. So anyway, let me just organize this and then I'll come back. See, as I say, you know, a soaper always makes mistakes. It doesn't matter as long as you're, you know, adhering to everything you need to adhere to. I'll just put the last bit in that. And you probably didn't see me, but I definitely did go off camera to measure this out. So don't just pour it in because this is going on the body. It's really, really important that you do measure it properly, okay? I know I sound like an old mum, don't I? Say it's probably because I am an old mum, but yeah, just make sure you measure it for yourself. And that way, you know, if you ever have any issues or someone complains, at least you know you've done everything the right way. So I'm going to put that aside, as I said before, and I am going to be back in just a moment. All right, everyone, so we've got our plastic down here. So what we're going to be doing now, this is just a plastic sheet. If you're in America, I think you have a press and seal, but we don't actually get that in Australia. So all we're going to do is literally put our colours on here, because that way when we pipe it into the jars, they're going to be beautiful and colourful. So as I said earlier, my main colour is definitely the pink. And the reason you do this is that way you only need to use one piping bag and you don't have to try and pull it apart when everything sticks in. So that's the whole reason for doing this. I never actually understood why everyone did it. I thought, what a waste of time. But honestly, it's not a waste of time. It's a really good idea to do it this way. And so then we're going to just pop these colours in here because we want to give it a bit of a swirl, don't we? And I'll just pop a little bit more of this colour because the pink is my main one. I didn't do a lot of white, so we'll see how that comes up later on. And then all we're going to do is just twist the ends around and then it will look like that. We'll pop that down and then we'll do as many as we need to do. And hopefully I have enough plastic film because I'm running low. Usually I have a spare container, but anyway, I don't at the moment. I don't have a spare one. This smells so beautiful, like honestly, so nice. While we're talking about everything and how it smells, a lot of people, you know, try and put, you know, like petals, like rose petals and things like that in it. I wouldn't do it because honestly, like it's fine to have them in a photo or something, you know, just for your one in your photo. But the problem with it is they actually go funny. So they can rot inside this. So I definitely wouldn't put them in there. But if you want to, it's up to you. But yeah, that's my advice. Don't do it. Yeah, because like I said, they do just rot inside the flowers. And, you know, you don't know how long this is going to sit on the shelf either. You know, you might be making this a couple months in advance. And in saying that as well, realistically, once you make it, you want to sell these within, I reckon, within 8 months. So, like, it does have a preservative, but you don't want these ones just sitting there because the sugar in that, it goes like real stringy, because I know, because I've tested it. So the sugar can go sort of like, it almost looks like glue, like a thick kind of glue, and it's not as lovely. So yeah, so I definitely wouldn't keep it, you know, a huge amount of time. So don't make massive batches if you don't think you're going to sell massive batches. Maybe just make half of what I'm making. Unless you've got an online store and you're going to have a big sale or something on it, then of course you could. But yeah, anyway. So far I've got 3 of these out of it, and I'll probably get another one or so. And then I will show you the next step because we do need to sanitize the containers. before we use them, and usually I do a couple, buy a couple little containers as samples, which I just get those, you know, I don't buy those in bulk. I probably should, but I don't. So if you're wondering too, a scent that's a popular scent, anything with like rose, lavender is really popular. And then of course you do have your fruity kind of scents, but honestly the ones I sell the most are like floral type ones. And to all different ages too, you know. Years ago it was only older ladies that would buy it, but now I get heaps and heaps of young girls in their 20s. So, and they love it. They love the smell of rose. There's different sorts of rose as well. This is a real modern, beautiful rose. It's not that old-fashioned rosy perfume kind of rose, if that makes sense. So, anyway, but it's, like I said, it's really lovely. And most of you know that I do support Pure Candle Supplies. I really love their stuff. And then this is one of theirs. So, and you got to test things too, you know, test what you like and companies you like as well. Don't just go for a big company because you think you know it. Just, you know, kind of look around. And Pure Candle Supplies is a smaller company. I don't get anything either, by the way. Like, I don't get any paid or anything like that for talking about them. It's just a company I like, and I think that it's a great company if you guys can use them. And I have got a hint of surprise that in time they are going to go to the US. In time. That's their goal, I think. So hold on, all of my friends from the US. And hopefully they come to you, because they're the nicest company. Like, just so nice to deal with, and real lovely and, you know, personable. So anyway, let me get on to the next bit, and I'm going to get the jars organised. Alright, so we have my jars here, everybody. So what we're going to do is undo these, and we're going to spray them and wipe them all out. You can wipe them out with a paper towel, or you can also wipe them out with like a microfiber sort of cloth. So these are my jars. I'm not sure how many I'll get out of this, but we'll soon see. And then these are my little testing jars. So even the testing jars, you still need to spray these, and like I said, with the rubbing alcohol. If anyone's wondering, I don't actually get my rubbing alcohol in this bottle. This is just one I'm using. I just transfer it into this box. So all I do is give them all a spray each, and then we'll wipe them all out. Because I actually transfer it. But anyway, the company that I actually use, that I get all of this from, is a company called Lee Beauty. So I'll leave their details down below, because they're really, really good. And then just make sure you wipe them out. I'm not doing the lids yet, but when I get to put the lids on, I will definitely sanitize the lids as well. Because you don't want any mold or anything growing in these products. Because that would be really embarrassing if someone bought something back that was all moldy and gross. And you know, things can grow real fast. You don't think they will, but they can. And sometimes it's no fault of your own, you know, just sometimes things happen, but just try and protect yourself, because any little germ can get in. So make sure you don't have pets and kids inside when we're making all of these products as well. Anyway, we've done all this bit, guys, so let me get my pipe and all the piping things that I need, and the tips that I'm going to get. You can use lots of different tips, so don't think you can just use the one I've got. I just suggest use a wider tip. It's definitely much better. And the one thing that I do suggest is, when you're doing these, do them at the start, but then weigh them. So definitely weigh these as you're going along to make sure you're getting the right amount, because I don't believe that you can just eyeball something like this, because these are air filled. So yeah, so I definitely wouldn't be doing that. So weigh them, especially in Australia, where the laws are really strict on making sure the right weight is in each jar. Even if you work at the market, sometimes inspectors come to markets here, farmers markets or craft markets, as we call them, and they will weigh your jars. They'll bring a little scale and weigh them. So it's really important that you're doing, making sure you're protecting yourself as well, your own business. But anyway, let me get everything organized and I'll be back. So as most of you know, these are the little piping bags that I use. Well, they're not little actually, they're quite big. And I actually buy mine from Dream Cakes in Australia. You can also, if you're in Australia, get them from Paradise. If you're in the US or somewhere else, I'm sure you have many cake supplies you can get these from. And also Amazon, of course. You know, you can get anything from Amazon, can't you? I mean, Amazon's quite amazing, really. So I'll get the tip for the end. So I'm going to be using this particular tip, if you can see this one. And you can use all different ones. Sometimes I use a big plastic one, but because I do have some small containers, I thought, look, we'll just use that. And then all I do is cut the end of the bag off and pop the piping tip in the bottom. And let me just show you what I'm doing. And so this is all I'm going to do, and then cut off that, obviously, to make sure it fits in there well. You can use like a little coupler, which, you know, they use when they make cakes and things, but I don't ever use them. Honestly, I don't. I just prefer the tip in the end of the bag. So all we're going to do is just like that. If you can see, I've got it halfway on. Make sure that it's not over the little spikes, otherwise you won't get your beautiful colours. And let me just move some of these jars that we've done aside, just so that it's not too crazy for me. And don't put your labels on until you're finished either. You know, I thought I was clever once putting them all on first, but honestly it ended in disaster, because then it just went absolutely everywhere. Because, you know, if the stuff goes over the side, then it might leak on it or and make a mess. So all we're going to do is cut the end off one of these, which I've just done. And then literally this is it. We're just going to sit it inside the bag. Let me just organise this. And then you can see here it is, all looking beautiful. And then once it's at the end here, what I do is just kind of like put your hand here to push it forward so you don't get too many air bubbles. And you don't want to see this, do you guys, why I'm doing this? So let me just move that out the way. We'll move this here. And as I said, you know, we're going to literally just do this. And what I often do is have it on the scale, but for now what I'm going to do is, if you actually measure your scale, like put this on your scale, measure it, and then take it off. So just tear it out with this on it, you know, if that makes sense. And so I know this is going to weigh 15 grams, this, because I've just done it on the scale. And then literally all you're going to do is literally just, you know, go around the bottom, just making it look all gorgeous, because we want this to look pretty, don't we, when somebody gets it. And once you're getting to the top, remember your lid. Some lids are different to others. And that one's not full, you can see that. So I can just go around a little bit more. But you do have to be a bit careful, because, you know, you don't want your lid not to be able to fit, which I've done that plenty of times. So if you can see how cute that looks, and it looks really sweet on the outside. So I'm just going to measure it. And this one here is coming to 240 grams, which is fine. So I'm happy with that one. So let me do all the bigger ones first, and then I'll go to the small ones after. And, you know, like, there's no right or wrong, honestly. I mean, you just want it to look nice. Just try and make sure it looks good. And then if you get into this and you sort of feel like you can't get this out, just get a ruler or some scissors or something and just, you know, kind of like push it back, just so that you're getting all this out. Or you can use your hand to, you know, because you want to get as most out of this as you can, because products are expensive to make, as we all know. So you want to make sure you're getting everything that you can get out of the bag. And tap it down in between too, because otherwise you have too many air bubbles in this. And one thing I forgot about, actually, and I'll tell you now, when you're making sugar scrub, it will be more weighty than if there's no sugar in it, because obviously the sugar adds more weight. And so you'll have 2 jars, and people will often say, well, that one has more than that, but it's just the weight of the sugar. So I'll throw that one out. So you would have seen I just literally took the inside out. And now what we're going to be doing is we'll just get the second one, and this is why you put it in plastic. And then you just cut it off and put it in the same bag. And just shake it back in the bag, and then we're ready for the next one. And like I said, we just make sure we just sort of push this down to the end. And like I said, I am going to definitely weigh this one after I do it. So, you know, you can eyeball like how much is in the top, but then you just want to like obviously, you know, weigh it. So if you can see, we can just see a tiny bit of white, which is nice. And then on here, this says 230, so I want this to go to 40. So on my scale, I've just like put the extra bit in so I know they're all going to be exactly the same, because you don't want to have some that aren't. And then of course, here's my little baby ones. So all I'm going to do, I'll see if I can hold it up and do it at the same time. This is my sample. So literally that's all I'm going to do. And then all we're going to do is pop the lid on, because this is just a sample, so you don't need to weigh that or anything. And I'll just give these away for free, just to some people, just so that they can try it out and see what they think. Especially if you have customers that buy lots of things, you know, it's nice to give them a sample of something different, because they might love it and buy it. And then what I would do is I'll actually shrink wrap this or put plastic on it so that it's not going to come out. Because these jars aren't, you know, they're not made for all of this. But like I said, we'll just do a few of these. And you'll be amazed how grateful your customers are for a sample. I have so many customers that say they order from me because I give them a sample. So that one little $2 sample might make you $200. Alright, so we'll do one more of these big ones, and then I'll get on to the smaller ones. To be really honest, the small ones are the ones that will sell. A lot of people just don't like paying $20 odd for a big one. But I charge anything from 11 to 13 for this size. Just so that you all know what I'm charging, I don't mind telling you. I'm just going to add my extra little bit, and I almost had it perfect. It came to this one, when I did this one, it was $2.38. So, and as we said, we're going to make these ones a bit bigger. So we've got these ones here, and now let me organize some of these. But we'll try and get whatever I can get out of this one first, which I think I've got almost all of it out. And as you can see, I'm just literally pushing that with that. Get a ruler, anything you can get, and just, you know, get the rest of it out. I'm just going to tear my scale because this one may be less, which it's actually not, funny enough, it's still 15. Wouldn't you think this one would be a different weight to the first one, but it's not, it's pretty much the same. Anyway, so you can see that I've got that out, and then in here, let me show you. So all you do is just pull that bit out, and then that's just the plastic. Throw that in the bin. And there are some really beautiful biodegradable plastic films that you can use as well. So the next one I buy will be biodegradable, and you can get that from your local shopping centre too. So I'll just be getting that from, in Australia we call it Woolies, which is that's just our, you know, local sort of shop. Anyway, so the same thing with this. We will just make sure it's gorgeous. We'll go around the bottom. And this particular piping tip's really nice because it just gives you that really nice look. And that looks really cute, doesn't it? So if you can see the edges, so I'll just weigh that up. And so this one here is going to weigh 146, and I can put a little bit more in, so I know these are going to be 150 in these ones here. Yep, so that comes to 150. So we've got 140, what do we say this one was? I can't remember now. So we've got 240 and 150. So that's the thing, you know, make sure everything's really consistent. Sometimes I give my customers extra, you know, if I get a little bit extra at the end, I just pop it in. And then, like I said, we're going to keep going. So I will keep going, and once I've finished, I'm going to show you the end, because one of these, we will need to make one really big fancy one for both of them for our photo. Now this one is going to be for my photo. And you wouldn't believe it, it's actually perfect size. So sometimes you need to do one like that for your photo as well, to have a bit of a peek, but of course you still want the lid to go on it. But once I've taken my photo, then I will actually, you know, like flatten it down. So that one has a few extra in it, but that's okay, isn't it? So I do still have a couple more, so we might do one more of these, and I'll have enough to do some bigger ones as well. Alright everyone, so we have these gorgeous little ones here. So these three here I'm going to use for my photo shoot. So what you can do is you can actually put a little bit of some rose petals or something on it. You can put some on the top. I just wouldn't put it in anywhere, but put a very small bit if you're going to do it. So in my container here, I just have some little baby pearls and a tiny bit of these rose petals. These rose petals are designed to go on these type of products as well. So you do need to make sure that they're just like that. That's all I would do. And like I said, this is more for my photos than anything, because, you know, photos are key, aren't they, to, you know, everything selling. Because, I mean, that's how you literally sell things, is your photos. So I'm sure you can admit, look how cute these look, and they look really gorgeous from the outside. I will label them, and I will definitely show you at the end. So I'll come back and label them with you guys after, obviously I'll go take some photos and so on with these ones. But thank you everyone for listening so far, and if you want to watch me label them at the end and the last photos, stay tuned and I'll come back. Hey everyone, I am back again finally. So I thought what I would actually show you here is we've totally done, so we have the large ones here, and then we have you know, our little mediums, and then of course our little sample ones. So what we're going to do from here is I do already have my labels that I've printed out, so if you can see them here. So these are like a see-through one, and you can get these from Stanley Printing in Australia, and I'm sure lots of other places all over the world have them as well. All it is it's, I think it's called a crystal clear printable paper, so or printable sheet. It's kind of like a plasticky type sheet, or like a perspex type thing, I guess. And then I just print it out on my normal cheap $30-odd printer. And then, of course, you sort of need some legals at the back, so that's what's going to go on the back. Even when you give out samples, you should have the legals on it. In Australia, you don't actually have to, but I always do, because I just think that is super, super important. So, of course, typical me, as you guys all know, I'm hopeless. I've forgotten to get something, so let me just go and grab my paper towel and something else. So here I do actually have my isopropyl. So isopropyl obviously is rubbing alcohol. I just spray it on here because sometimes you get the sticky bits left behind from the soap residue. So if you just wipe them down before you put the stickers on, otherwise you might ruin the sticker. It's just to get any, you know, like any sort of little bits of rubbish off, and to make sure the sticker sticks. And I mean, where I get these from Stanley Labels, they're actually really cheap. So, you know, like, I know lots of people have suggested to me to have other companies make them, you know, like Labels Online and stuff like that. And I have tried them, but honestly, I didn't really like the quality. And plus, because I make so many products, it would mean that it would cost me thousands of dollars to get a reel of each one. So it'd just be too expensive that way. And this way, I'm kind of eliminating all that, I guess. And it's just allowing me, you know, to do it my way, I guess. Maybe in the future, I might need to if I sell enough products. But anyway, so let's get started and I'll show you how you do them. So basically on the back of these, one side's shiny, the shiny bit's the bit you print on, and the bit that's kind of like it's almost like a frosted, and then that's the bit you peel off. So I just basically put it on there, put your sort of nail or something behind it, even though I bite my nails, and then just peels off. And then if you see this, they have like little tags here. Well, you don't want that tag at the front, so make sure it's at the back, and then pretty much just hold it, you know, as so, and pop your sticker on. Obviously, I've measured these to make sure they fit. And I mean, look how professional they look. They look so cute. And I'll show you what I did before. I actually was making them in a white vinyl, but I kind of felt they looked a bit cheap. So I'll just show you. So these are my other ones. These are my unicorn ones. And if you see that, I mean, the label's okay, but I just really felt that it looked a bit cheapy, and I thought that it looked nicer just being more clean cut. So sometimes, you know, doing more, and I mean, honestly, that cost me heaps more. So sometimes doing more isn't good, is it? And then if you want, you can put your sticker on the top, but I'm not going to put them on here because all the legals are already on here. But I have cut extra of these. And just in case, you know, somebody doesn't read the side labels, I've got these small ones, and then these are going to sit on the bottom, just so that I've also done the label and the, you know, the bits on the bottom. And the legals on the bottom, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read it. This is my own one, my own design as well, but look in your country to see what they want. But I've just said, you know, patch testing is required, supervision around water for children, and of course all the ingredients and so on there. But do check into what you actually need, because every country is different. And of course, you know, you do need to make sure you have your weight, your volumes, what the product is, and always write on the top sugar scrub or soap whip or whatever, because that is really, really important to write that on there, because you'll be amazed the amount of people that pick it up and say, well, what is it? Because they don't know what it is. And because we're soap makers, I just think we generally know what it is, don't we? But a lot of people don't. So that's really important. And down the side of mine as well, it does actually give my customers a batch number. So that way, you know, I keep a batch number of all the products I've made. So if something ever comes back and there's an issue, I can just go straight back to the batch number, and I'll know exactly, you know, what I'm doing with that. So once again, you know, that is super important as well. Or just keep, you know, keep a record. I mean, every country, once again, is different. So, and I've just cut these by hand. I didn't put them through the pre-cut cutter. So you can easily just get a pair of scissors and cut them by hand. But, you know, look, they look really professional as well. They have all the details they need, and so on them. And then, of course, these are my little Bubsy ones for my little tiny ones, because, of course, you need everything to change depending on what size it is. So once again, we'll just pop this on here. And really the front of it is just, you know, your aesthetic, beautiful looking label. And then the rest of it will change as well. So, but I've got everything I need on here. And then, of course, all the sizes and everything else that I need will be in a different bit. So, and let me just pop this on the back. I'll just show you each size so that you can see what I've done. And once again, the label, you know, just the caring on the bottom, what I actually need. So I'll pop them there so you can see them. And as I said before, even though it's a sample, I'm still going to be putting all of the ingredients, what's in my sample, and of course, you know, just some legal stuff on there as well. It's important too to have your website on here. So if they want to go back to your website, or even if this print is too small, that's fine, as long as they can go back to your website and easily get the information. In Australia, that's how it works anyhow. So on here, if you can see, these are my little samples, and it does say on here, sample not for resale, just in case somebody clever is going to try and resell it. Well, they'd have to go to the effort to pick all these stickers off, and these clear ones, give them a week of them stuck on and they'll be pretty hard to get off. And the same thing on the back, just make sure, you know, you put what's in it and all the things like that. But anyway, hopefully today I have really helped you guys out, and we've had a bit of fun, haven't we, making them? And I am so keeping one for myself. My daughter, who's 13, Annie, came in before and had her hands all over them trying to get one. I said, absolutely not. It's for mummy today. So anyway, it's a bit funny, isn't it? But I hope you like how we've done them. And if you think it's worthy of a thumbs up, make sure you give me one of those. And if you haven't subscribed, have a think about it, because we do have lots of fun and we're all friends on this channel. You guys all know that. You know, I'm so grateful for you all joining me, and we've all made friends all over the world, wherever you guys are from. Anyway, have a lovely day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.